I'd like to welcome you today to our study in the Psalms. I'm making this video on Christmas Day, and Tony's had a full day, so she's taking the day off. I hope you've had a great Christmas, and I hope that you're ready to move on to New Year's and then to 2021. We're going to look at Psalm 139 today, and it is one of the most famous Psalms in the whole Bible. Beautiful poetry, great truth. There are a couple of verses towards the end of the Psalm that are quite troubling. They're harsh, difficult words that we'll read about. Now, why were they so? Well, we're going to get into the Psalm and find out. Let's start. The Psalm writer says, Lord, you've searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path, my lying down. You're acquainted with all my ways. The psalm writer is going to compare himself to the enemy who has persecuted him, abused him, and hurt him. He's probably a very powerless person who's been tormented by oppressors. He has no recourse but to turn to God. And so he is going to compare his life and say, God, you know me and you know them. Judge for me. Now the last verse has this to say, and they form, the first and the last verses form something like a parenthesis, and we put the whole body of the rest of the psalm right there. So the last verse says, search me, O God, just like he said a moment ago. Search me, O God, know my heart, test me, know my thoughts. See if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Now he knows he's not sinless, but he also knows he's better than the wicked oppressor who's making his life and that of his people miserable. He knows that God is also going to look at his speech. So let's look at verses 4 through 6. Even before a word's on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It's too high. I can't attain it. They mentioned to you that the psalm writer talks to God like he is a friend. Jesus tells us, you are my friends. But even before that, he is able to talk to God and to dialogue with him in a personal way. That is God's great gift to us and a great aspect of his character. We can talk to him and know he hears us and responds. God's everywhere present. He is present for this psalm writer and for us everywhere we go. And because of that, we know, as he knows everything, he can better guide us. Let's read verses 7 through 10. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, that's the realm of the dead, you're there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even your hand shall lead me and your right hand shall hold me. Did you hear me note that realm of the dead, Sheol? It was the belief at the time of the writing of this psalm that God wouldn't ever go there. But this person says, no, God, even if I'm in the realm of the dead, you're there. There's no place that God is not going to go, and his hand is there to both lead us and to hold us fast. As you pray through this psalm, think about how God does that. Then he says, surely if the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. And the night is bright as day, for darkness is as light to you. God sees light even when the darkness is around. Now, the oppressors of this person probably thought that they could get away with it because they did their deeds in secret, or they thought that God didn't care or know. But the psalm writer said, God knows that the people who are persecuting me and hurting me and oppressing me, squashing me like a bug, those people are not invisible to God. He sees. Think about it. When illness, loneliness, addiction, or fear make us feel like we're living in the dark, God is there. The psalm writer says, night is as bright as the day. Well, darkness and Sheol, remember the realm of the dead, it's not an obstacle to God's presence. But neither is our unformed substance in the womb of our mother. God knows us throughout every aspect of our life. Let's read it. For it was you who formed me in the inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, For I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, that I may know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them ever existed. That's verses 13 through 16. Absolutely beautiful. The world system, the things around us, make us feel like we're nobodies, insignificant, that if we live or we die, we don't count. These verses declare that we are part of God's purposes on the earth. We're not just a product of biology between a man and a woman. We are a part of God's intention and part of God's purpose. Every human being is precious and valuable in the sight of God. There's nobody who's beyond the truth of these words. And because of that, we can go ahead and join the psalm writer in verses 17 and 18. How weighty to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. I try to count them. They're more than the sand. I come to the end. I'm still with you. I read a book several years ago by C.S. Lewis on the subject of pain, particularly pain in the Psalms. And Lewis said that when people have been injured terribly, that they don't just get over it immediately. That's a huge recognition. And so the next verses I'm going to read will reflect on the fact that the speaker has been hurt terribly, and the speaker is expressing to God his pain. But it's not just pain about his own situation. He believes that what's happening to him is an affront to God. Let's read his words, 19 through 22. Oh, that you would kill the wicked, O God, and that the bloodthirsty would depart from me. Those who speak of you maliciously and lift themselves up against you, for do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them as my enemies. Now, those are strong words. In January, I'm going to start a study of the parables. And the very first parable, I'm starting doing a little study on it right now. The very first parable is going to be about forgiveness. It is going to adjust some of the language that we just gave. But for now, let's remember, these people have been hurt greatly, and they're giving expression to their pain. And there are people in our world today who are hurt terribly, and in their pain, they give expression to God, and God comes and helps them. Well, let's end this as we began it with the words, search me, O God, know my heart, test me, know my thoughts. See if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. What a great prayer. Thanks for being with me today. God bless you. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.